5. We're going to kind of start back at the top and get y'all in here too. 545-9950. If you got something to say about it, come on. We will take your calls and comments as we roll along this afternoon, getting her done for everything after a crazy historic news week. AJ, I'm sending you something I think I want to play here at the top. I'm going to send it on the text message. I couldn't pull it up on this end. But this is about Jawbone Jam. Jawbone Jam coming up in 2 weeks. Couldn't be bigger. It's the biggest show we've ever done. It's our station anniversary party, and that's why we call it that. But this year we were able to team up with Birmingham's own Brother Kane. Huge, huge band that's gotten back together and are touring the country again since their fame of the 2000s and the 90s. And, of course, Damon himself is off playing with these huge artists all over the place. But we love our Birmingham talent, want to support that. They're the headliner. They're bringing a band called Stone Horses to Iron City. And then my friends at Cattle, who I get to spend a lot of time with, hanging out last night at another charitable event here in Birmingham. These guys, they also had a reunion this year, and it's going to be such a big show and a fun show at the best music venue in the city, Iron City. So tickets are online. We want to get those sold out. So we're going to have a big push on that in the next few weeks. Probably have a huge crowd. Can't wait to see you. I'll be doing the show there 2 to 6. AJ will be around. Usually our whole crew on these Jawbone Jam days will show up on the air with us, and we just have a big old time. So we'll be live from there on the 15th. Then, of course, doors open that evening, and then go enjoy the show. Should be one of the best shows they've had there in a long time. And AJ, did you get that message from me? I was just checking on you real quick, see if you got it. All right, so let's. I just saw this. Iron City put this up. Damon Johnson, of course, of the lead singer and the lead guitar guy, and kind of the heart and soul of Brother Kane, in my opinion. He put a video up talking about the big show. Let's take a listen to it real quick.
Hey guys, Damon Johnson. Friday night, May the 15th, Iron City, our hometown, Birmingham, Alabama. Brother Kane, we're celebrating the release of our first new album in 28 years, Magnolia Medicine. It's going to be a big night. We can't wait to see all of our friends and our family from Birmingham. We've got our good friends Stone Horses and Cattle on the bill with us. I think showtime is 8 o'clock, might be 7:30. You can get tickets and VIP information at brotherkane.com. It's going to be a special night. We can't wait to see you. Friday night, May 15th, Iron City, home sweet Birmingham, Alabama. Let's go.
Love it. Love everything about that. So we're going to have a big old time. So get online now and do it now before they do sell out. Because Birmingham, we were talking about this last night at the concert. Birmingham is known. I mean, we're just like that here. And I'm one of y'all. We're what's called by every music and event promoter in the world. They call us a walk-up town, which means we'll wait till the last second to decide what our plans are on a weekend, and suddenly everybody wants to get in. And sometimes that can leave you outside. So I wouldn't wait to try to walk up and get in the door that night. You can get your tickets online. They're only $40, which is incredible for a show nowadays. And they're on Ticketmaster. You can find it easy by either looking for Jawbone Jam or looking for Brother Kane or one of the bands. It should pop right up for Birmingham events. Then the Iron City right there, as he said, on their website, IronCityBirmingham.com, IronCityBHam.com as well. You can find tickets there. And, man, we just can't wait. Let me know. Reach out to us on social media, and I'll be putting more stuff up this week about it too. And let us know if you're coming. We look forward to seeing you. And for my part, I'll enjoy getting to spend more time with folks for our station birthday party. Our big part of it is it's the 10th anniversary of Talk 99.5, and we're still getting after it. And we'd love to see you. A lot of y'all been to a lot of these concerts over the years, and we'd love to see you again. 2 weeks from tonight. It's hard to believe it's already here. Jawbone Jam, Iron City, May 15th. Come on. All right, man, let's go back to the top. Let me start with the weather. A soaker for a good portions of the audience tonight, primarily people from Birmingham to the south. No weather threat, no severe weather threat, but a lot of rain for some people. and it's just going to slowly roll through tonight. It's actually, even though we've had a ton of rain lately, it's just what the doctor ordered to make up for the drought, because we were, I don't know how many inches we were behind. I think I looked at a map that had us 12, 13 inches behind on rainfall. And so we've had probably 6 to 7 generally since last week, and it's continuing. And we're going to pick up some more, and it'll help with those totals and get us out of those conditions. I need to get back to be able to burn stuff outside. I got wood and trees and things I picked up that need to go. I always have to burn 2 or 3 times a year to get rid of that stuff, and so don't want to take a chance on that. But again, a soaker tonight should move out by the early morning hours. Maybe some of y'all still be seeing rain at 7, 8, 9 o'clock, but then it moves on. And according to the forecasters, and then of course we're going to have a cold snap, which I'm not looking forward to. Highs in the low 60s tomorrow. We could have lows in the 40s when you get up and head to church or whatever you are doing on Sunday morning. You might need a jacket. I put all my stuff away too soon. And so that is in the forecast for tonight. The headlines, of course, the bigger headline here in Alabama today is Kay Ivey finally, after a lot of goading and chiding by people like me for the last 48 hours, has called a special session with the idea that the Supreme Court's going to give the state some relief from the previous racial gerrymandering lawsuits that were brought here in the state that gave the Democrats a free seat in the Congress. The landmark ruling this week precipitated all this. For some reason, the governor was dragging her feet, put out a lame statement hours into the evening after the ruling came out. They weren't prepared to call the session. You know, it's so impractical. I'm about to start ranting and raving again. I'm going to try not to because it's getting late in the show. You know, one of the things that sometimes can complicate common sense are things like that they're starting to tear down the old state house. And it was going to be a big old pain in the butt to have to call them all back and figure out what they're going to do to have a legislative meeting. And I'm telling you, considerations like that might have also gotten in the way of just expeditiously. The governor on Wednesday should have said this: we acknowledge the court's ruling. We're very happy about the ruling, however they want to express that. We're looking into all viable options as to Alabama's future districts with the Attorney General and our legal advisors, and just leave it at that until they sorted it out. Instead, it was the statement at the end of that got negative headlines all over the country from people, especially Republicans and people that support Trump's agenda, where the governor seemed to punt, saying, well, there's just not much we can do. There's another court case that's got us hamstrung till 2030, so we're not allowed to do anything. We're going to sit down here and play dominoes next week. And that wasn't going to fly. That was not going to fly. It didn't fly. It didn't make any common sense. So the immediate thing to do is get your ass to the Supreme Court with your Attorney General and ask for clarity or a vacation of the previous districts and the rulings and the auspices of the lawsuit that was brought based on a racial segregation premise. And by the way, back to my point on that today, these districts are the definition of segregation, period. As much as some, especially on the political left, want to consider it civil justice or civil rights, it is everything but that. The Voting Rights Act was put into place to destroy segregation in the 1960s, from the 1960s. It was designed to end racial preferences, period. It wasn't just designed to end white people discriminating. And by the way, the majority of the Democrat Party is just as white as I am, but they were looking for political advantage and use race as a divisive tool by segregating voters into their own blacks-only district. You got your whites-only voters over here and your blacks-only voters over there. That's segregation. Segregation is just choosing between two things and sorting things into their identity groups. And that's segregation. It's just like they want you to pay for PBS and they want you to pay for NPR. That's the same thing as censorship. We're supposed to abhor censorship under the First Amendment, that the government can't tell you what is or is not speech. But then they turn right around and want to pick your pockets and make you pay for their version of speech, which is sponsorship. And sponsorship and censorship are the same thing. In both cases, it's the government deciding what's speech and what's thought and what's not, and that's un-American. And even though you got a bunch of commies running around in the streets today, a bunch of thieves and pickpockets running around demanding other people's stuff with these socialist May Day events where they're protesting and yelling they love a bullhorn, try to chain themselves to Wall Street. Losers. I mean, their ideas have lost in the historical experiment of humankind, period, everywhere. And they believe they're entitled to your things, the things you worked and saved and earned. They're somehow entitled to it. So they're out today marching in the streets, and it's that same mentality, that the same hypocrisy that you have to cloak yourself in to believe that segregation's a good idea. You're supposed to be fighting discrimination by segregating people into their own little voting blocks. You know, we'd have a lot better responsiveness from our politicians if they didn't take us for granted. One of the reasons they take us for granted, in addition to the fact that most of them believe they get there through their fundraising and not your actual votes, because they can buy your votes with the fundraising. You raise enough money, you can run enough ads, convince anybody of anything, keep yourself in office, and then the hell with you in between the elections. That's some truth right there, what I'm spitting. And both parties do it. And so the Republicans, while they neglect the evangelical Christians who they would dare to go vote for the transgender party, I mean, so they assume they're going to always have that vote. The Democrats have done the same thing with black voters, just assuming they're monolithic, and they won't even look at what they're not getting done for them, because they've scared black voters into believing everybody else but them is the boogeyman. And those days are over. When we all open our eyes and drop that nonsense and try to evaluate these candidates for what they're actually getting done, man, this country could make some progress. So the reason they ignore us is because when you segregate people by district, Democrats can assume that the black district is always going to vote for them. Doesn't matter who the nominee is. And it kind of is true. And then when you do that, when you take black consideration out of the Republican districts, you make the Republican districts more white and more Republican. And they wind up doing the same thing. You get an incumbent that's not challenged in their own party. Again, money. And here's an incumbent that's been there 40 freaking years. Or what? We got 2 or 3 congressmen. Aderholt's been there since 96. I was part of his first race when he ran for Congress. 96. Mike Rogers has been there since the congressman I worked for left the office to be governor, Bob Riley. He's been there since 2002. These people have made careers out of being in office. And why is that? Because they don't have to be accountable. Who's going to run against them in their own party? Democrats don't have a shot. They took all the black voters out. So hear what I'm saying to you right now. These guys have to sharpen their pencil and be more responsive if they've actually got to pay attention to the black voters in their Republican districts, even though they represent less than a minority. And if those same voters would decide they're not going to vote in a block for the Democrats every single time, and take a listen to these Republicans and go to some town halls and pull them over to some ways of thinking, we get an improvement. You get competition for ideas, not just identities. And ideas would be a lot better way to govern this country than what somebody looks like in a mirror, because that doesn't tell you anything. My life experience is it does not tell you anything. Some of the biggest villains in this country are white as they can be. It doesn't tell me anything about them. And I can name names, and I'll start doing it before you. I mean, some of the worst people in politics right now, Tim Walz has to be at the top of that list. He just sack of flour white and an idiot, and has the worst ideas in politics. And now he's caught in a political scandal. These districts would be better off if people are voting their actual economic interest and the interests of their region. You go down to, I've given this example over and over again. When you go to the coastal region, for example, they've got issues that are important to their way of life down there. The shrimping industry, the fishing industry, the shipbuilding industry. They're not doing any of that stuff in Huntsville. That's not their issue with their congressperson. They're not building ships in Dothan. We're not building boats and shrimping in Birmingham. So each congressional district, if drawn accordingly, finds the things that hold their constituents in common, which is your livelihood and your commerce. And then you've got a congressperson that has to be responsive to that, because they can't get by with just being black or just being white or just being this or that, or not being the other guy. They have to listen to us. They have to pay attention to the actual economics and what's important to the people in the district that's drawn, where people have a lot in common. That's how districts ought to be drawn. It's more of a geographical and economic thing than it is all this other nonsense that has just been a tool for the left in this country to try to gain control. All of their systems are falling apart, and good, because they're unfair and they can't win in a fair fight. So let's see how this plays out. The special session was called for Monday at 4 o'clock. There's some presumption that what Kay Ivey's actually done, which is also stupid, is try to default the session to redrawing the districts back to a map that was proposed and being used in, I believe, 2023, which preserved the 7th district, which is sort of drawn for Terry Sewell. That's stupid. The courts just ruled even that district, as long as it's been there, was drawn improperly, with race as the first consideration. So if you're going to have constitutional districts, you can't limit the special session to those issues. I think the presumption there is what they've asked the court for, is to be allowed to go back to the maps before the lawsuits. And that's not enough. You should tell the court, you should ask the court, in light of your landmark ruling, can we just start over and let our citizens, based on what they choose through their representatives to be the congressional maps, let that be the maps. And that's the purest way to do it. There's time to do it. There's clearly time to do it. But they keep doing these half measures down there. And even though she finally and her team got goaded into calling the session today, they're still trying to limit it. But it all comes down to how the court rules and when the court rules. I do applaud the effort to go ahead and get moving on it while you wait for a court ruling. Some believe that court ruling will also come Monday, that there'll be more clarity in whatever the Supreme Court decides to do in light of their decision. And then the legislature will have its instructions to move forward. All I know is there are a butt ton of maps being passed around. Some would give the Republicans 2 seats from Alabama. Some would give them 1. And we'll see which one of those ideas plays out. And we'll be keeping a sharp focus on it, as we have since the minute this ruling came out. Again, I'm not trying to take credit for the pressure on the governor's office. That wasn't even my intent. I was just pissed off. And I thought it was a weak response. And it finally, some people that are also in my business, people that are sort of in the opinion business around the state, we were immediately all of like mind. I was scorching the earth on Wednesday afternoon because of the laziness and lack of preparation on the part of the governor's office in particular. But then they all got to work, and now they're moving in the right direction. And sometimes that's actually a positive sign, that even though you've got a lame duck governor who is trying to coast all the way to January, we can still fire things up down there and get things done when we need it. It's not going to be enough for Alabama to cut ribbons and hand out Werthers for Christmas and bless the state Christmas tree, and that be it. We still got things to do in our state who's falling behind because we remain reactionary to almost everything. We're waiting on other states to do it before we do. I'm sick of it. It's been decades of it now. All American Metal's bringing you the show tonight. They've got a sale going on. Man, you got to hear about this. It's not often that you want to have, that you're going to be excited about a sale on a bunch of metal parts, but some of y'all get it. If you're in construction, or you got a farm, or you've got property where you know the value of these pieces and parts for steel buildings, what they're doing is they have put a sale out starting on Monday, and these are overrun items where they printed or bent a bunch of steel sheets for a project, and the project didn't call for those, or the customer had a change in the change order. That's just part of manufacturing. It also points to the fact that, they manufacture their own stuff at All American Metals. So if you are a contractor, you're a handyman, a farmer, from time to time you have a need for these kind of things. They've got residential and commercial roof panels, corrugated panels, metal building and pole barn panels, all the stuff that goes in those kits, trim, ridge caps, flashings, fasteners, sealants, insulation boards for your project or whatever. The sizes and colors are going to vary and this is a deep discount. I mean, I'd almost dare say pennies on the dollar compared to what it would cost to go have this stuff custom cut. And they do have bulk order discounts if you're a contractor. and say they got 10 or 50 sheets of something you want, they're going to give you a discount for buying in bulk. Now, this is at the Bessemer location. I got some details. They do have drive up loading, bring your trailer and some straps. This is May the 4th through the 8th at All American Metals. They're going to start it at 7 o'clock to 4, and when it's gone, it's gone. So if you're in this business or need a really good deal on these parts, on these building parts, I'd get over there. They're on Warrior River Road in Bessemer. Easy to kind of get online and take a look at their site and give them a call or get the GPS coordinates. But All American Metals is throwing down some deals on building parts. Y'all take them up on it next week. aa-metal.com, aa-metal.com. All right, y'all get back in here. I talked a little bit long in the last segment, so we're close to another break. But let me tell you all about Alabama Dental Associates. We all need a dentist. Every one of you need a dentist. And some of you have a great dentist and you're happy with them. I get that. But if you're looking for a change or you need some flexibility, let me suggest Alabama Dental. That's my dentist. And it may be a little bit of a drive for some of you. It is for me too. But I just appreciate Dr. Brian. He's become a good friend and he's an excellent dentist. And so are the other three dentists. There's a 4-dentist practice open until 7, open on Saturdays, all the tech you would need to solve your problems. That's the kind of convenience and care of their patients you want in a super practice. It's alabamadental.com. Go ahead and get that appointment and take care of yourself. It's alabamadental.com. Here's the bottom of the hour. Back here in just a minute. Leland Live. Y'all stay tuned. Man, what a week in the news. What a week to be talking about. 545-9950. If y'all want to get on the show, come on. We'll put you on the radio. Let me talk to you about Birmingham Broker real quick. Man, that's our folks downtown that'll help you get a ride sold. If you got a car, truck, or SUV and it needs to be gone, it'll be gone with Birmingham Broker. Now, people always ask me, what's the catch? Somebody's just going to do all that work for you. There's a consignment fee, but what I have found is even with their consignment fee, you net more retail wise the way they do it than even trying to sell it yourself. Plus, you're not having to do all that stuff. Keep it clean, get it all prepped, market it, communicate with the buyer, meet them in some place, let them look at it and haggle with you. Some of y'all love that stuff. That ain't my jam. I'd rather Craig and Keith handle it. They know what they're doing. The only other things, it might take a day or two once you turn your car over to them for them to get it sold, but you're in such a better financial position to be able to do this with them rather than go trade one in and get a wholesale price. It's Birmingham Broker, Craig and Keith, the whole team. They've got a whole nother business that's connected there now called BB Electric Moto. Y'all check them out, figure out, I don't know what their hours are, say Saturday or this afternoon, but y'all go over there and if you're just looking for something fun to do, look at these electric off-road motorcycles. They are really, 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 really cool. I know your kids are going to go nuts over them. And I mean, they're all sizes. So they got little kid sizes all the way up to the adult sizes and just a ton of fun. And it's really a cool concept. They're way cooler than one of those e-bikes. Some of y'all want to do the e-bikes and the mountain bikes. Nah, this is way, way cooler. Go see them at BB Electric Moto, same location, downtown Birmingham, 4th Avenue South, Birmingham Broker and BB Electric Moto. All right, let me look at my list because I've spent a lot of time on this district argument, making my case, and we'll see how it checks out next week. I'm just glad we got a little bit of progress today on it. It's not going to be pure. It'll be frustrating. Just going ahead and warning y'all about that for sure. I talked about the security effort around Trump. Let me go back through that again. People still less than a week out. Oh, by the way, I meant to let me, before I get too serious again, didn't even tell AJ all the details of this. Marty Duncan, celebrity chef, friend of the show. She comes on with us usually during the holidays and we talk a lot of food. She just reached out and says she's got a cool event going on tomorrow. She's actually going to be teaching a cooking class and doing some things. I don't even have all the details, but we're friends. And I said, I tell you what, she sent me a little update and said she was doing this tomorrow. And I said, why don't you just call us and let's talk? So next hour, and AJ, about the middle of the hour, I told her somewhere around 5:15. That'll give me a chance to get all set up for 5 o'clock, and we'll get her in here and let Marty tell us what she's doing over there. It looks like it's going to be very near where the radio station is. So y'all listen up for that here in just a little bit, a little more than 30 minutes from now. We'll have Marty Duncan. Back to the Trump shooting and the new information that came out on that. I've talked about this a little bit tonight, but some of the new stuff was when the videos came out, the high-res videos came out yesterday, we found out that one of the guards, either Secret Service or others, sometimes the Secret Service will farm out some security parts to HSI from Homeland Security and even local police. It's a huge coordinated thing. And as we learned in Butler, sometimes there can be weak links in the chain when there's not good communication. I am not here to even present that they failed here. Perhaps you could say that there was a failure in that this shooter got even that close, but they were in a public facility. And I heard somebody say this the other day, and I think it's the most true thing I've heard, is that we're never going to live in a world where some person that's intent on killing the president won't be able to rush the perimeter. So they set up the perimeter where they thought the perimeter would be. And it was, I think, 120 yards from the stage on a different floor through several doors and close from our perspective, but from their perspective, when they look at the blast radius of the perimeter and try to keep the president, keep that perimeter outside the president's presence. And of course, in that case, the cabinet and everybody that went with it, that was the proper perimeter. And that building, as many people have pointed out, is not designed to protect presidents and dignitaries. It's a big old hotel with a conference center. I made a point to, it all came flooding back to me that I had been to a formal event there when George Bush was president. It was during his inaugural, where there was a black tie event just like this, and a president was in the room and had to go through the security, and it was pretty strict back then. Women got thoroughly searched with their purses. A lot of women want to carry a clutch or something to those things, and men, we all look like penguins, but they were doing pat downs, and I don't know how much the protocols have changed since then, but what I do know is you've got a lot of dumb people that are Monday morning quarterbacking these professionals that somehow got the shooter stopped. It didn't matter how it happened. He didn't get to his intended targets. Thank the Lord. And by the way, had he moved any further, there was even a greater police presence on the other side of that door. You saw how quickly they were on the stage, how quickly, and we didn't even see the ones that lined up around the back of the room. The minute these layers, you layer your security, and this was the outer layer. He didn't even really breach that. So I'm not trying to overgive him credit, because you always got to learn from weak spots. The fact that he was able to check into the hotel, case the place. We saw video of that yesterday too, of him walking hallways, looking for options, looking where the security was, arrogantly writing in his manifesto letter thing to his family that he was sort of laughing at the places of opportunity he saw to get in there. But the shooting itself, what we learned was that he got a shot off at that officer that you see in the foreground that returned fire. And people are criticizing the fact that he missed, but I mean, this guy, you saw how fast he was moving. If you think about it, if you've taken a buckshot round to your chest protector and you're still got the presence of mind to get some shots off, your aim's probably going, with a moving target, your aim's probably going to be a little bit off. That was utter chaotic. Not to mention, there were other people on the other side of this shooter that were subject to getting hit by friendly fire as well. And luckily, none of that happened. So the breakdown was interesting to me to watch actual people that know what they're talking about. But then there was this incident with the dog in the very back of the room. Some of y'all may have seen this today online. So there was a security, for lack of a better term, a police dog on the scene. We don't know if it was trained to sniff bombs or guns, but it seemed to alert on the shooter back in the background. And the shooter went out a set of glass doors and engaged in some kind of conversation with the officer with the dog. The officer held the dog back. I'm sure the officer was instructing the would-be shooter, not knowing he was a would-be shooter. And then suddenly the guy charged back in past the dog and ran through the magnetometer and got taken down. After, of course, fired his shots and got fired on. There are a lot of people questioning the dog handler, assuming that somehow the dog knew what the shooter had, but the dog handler missed it. And I'm telling you, hold up judgment on that, because as I explained earlier, I'm not trying to be a canine expert, but I did do a lot of work with those people. There was a training facility down in Auburn. I've worked with them over at the old Anniston Depot, Anniston military base, and some of the training. And I did a series years ago. Well, the background on that is I went, there was a prison break, and they got the dogs out, traced the prisoner, and I went down there to cover it as a news story. And I was fascinated with these dog handlers and how quickly they were able to get on the trail. And I said, that would make a good news series. So I went back and worked with those guys, trained with those guys. They put the suit on me and let the dog jump me, talked about how they smell, how they sense, how they communicate, and worked on a lot of drug interdiction stories where they use drug dogs. The bottom line is the dogs are taught to signal the officer in very subtle ways, not obvious ways. That's a security thing for the officer. And not giving anything away, but sometimes, say, a bomb sniffing dog, when it alerts on something, it's not going to bark and pitch a fit, start trying to attack the person unless commanded to do it. But the dog will just sit down. It'll go sit next to what it's trying to tell the handler is an area of concern that the dog has spotted. And so the behavior of this dog in that video did not look like a signal to me. It was just a dog being a dog. Maybe the dog's nerves were, alarmed by this guy for some reason because of his movements. Dogs are so smart and sensitive. But I'm not going to fault the handler, because the dog didn't do anything that I would recognize as a true signal that the dog detected a gun or something like that, because it was a split second. And I think it's supremely unfair for people to try to cherry pick what happened that fast in a flash after the fact that no one got killed. No one got shot except for the officer that took the round. But a lot of that stuff came out today, and it was fascinating at first. And then I recalled some of that training information, I thought we're being too quick to judge everything, especially when you've got people in their PJ sitting at home that have never been in any of these situations, don't know anything about what they're talking about, playing Sherlock Holmes on digital media and stirring up trouble. All right, let's go to the phones. I asked for calls and y'all brought them. Let's do Frank over here on line 3 in Jasper. Frank, what's up, buddy? All right, Frank dropped. AJ, let's go to Chase. That would be on line 1. What's up, Chase? Chase, you're up next, man.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said Frank. I'm sorry.
No, I did. I switched to you. Go ahead.
Okay, real quickly. Before they did the enhanced video, I did notice that the dog hit on that place twice, and the handler pulled him back. I'm not trying to do any conspiracy either, but it just seemed kind of odd. But what I wanted to talk to you about is just real quickly. Did you, and you may have mentioned this, did you see where the attorneys took this suspect, the shooter, took him into court and asked the judge not to keep him in jail because he had no priors and he goes to church on Sundays?
Yeah. Well, they got to throw everything they can at the judge. That's their job, is to try to get him sprung.
I mean, I just felt like that was kind of one of the stupidest things I'd ever heard. Maybe put a little bit of humor into your Friday afternoon.
Oh yeah,
have a good one.
He tried to kill the president, but he's a good boy. I mean, he loves the Lord. Yeah, look, attorneys are going to do that, man. I know, sounds bizarre to us, but that's actually what they're paid to do. At some point, I heard that they had dropped their request to get him out because I think they believe his life would be in danger outside of being held under bond than inside. So anyhow, let's go to Rick. Get Rick in here tonight. 545-9950. Y'all got some comments or thoughts? Rick, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, yeah, I wonder who put him up to it. They might get him. What I called about was this presidential election up there in Virginia.
Yep.
Where they're going to give all the electoral votes to whoever wins the popular vote. Have you heard anything about that? I heard
the governor actually signed that into law. And my guess on that, just similar to this racially reasons for drawing districts, there's some deep constitutional issues with Virginia trying to do that. States can decide on their own how they want to do electors, but they're not allowed under the Constitution to enter into compacts with each other. And this would necessarily be a compact with Virginia and, say, California, that however California votes, California and New York could decide the whole election. Virginia's just going to give away its electoral votes. This is part of the election rigging that has been sort of phase 3 for the Democrats. Get no voter ID, get voting for a month, do the drop boxes. They've been trying to shove that in for a long time, extended voting. And then, of course, giving up the Electoral College and letting all these states with a bunch of illegals that just got here packed in there decide the elections for us. We're going to fight that tooth and nail. I believe that a proper lawsuit's going to, thanks, Rick. I believe a proper lawsuit is going to have that Electoral College situation in Virginia thrown out. And it doesn't have to be even an external state to Virginia. It can be the disenfranchised voters with standing in the state of Virginia. Because suddenly, if you are for example, if you're a Republican, it may be that you got to have an election where they try to implement it in order to have damage. But I'll let the lawyers figure that out. But in this case, I mean, if you're a Republican voter in the state of Virginia, Virginia just decided you don't have any right to vote at all. You don't have a right to representation in our government. That's exactly what the outcome of this is, because you can't choose your electors through your own state. And based on the map they just drew, again, through a process, they can draw maps, but they did it through a process that wasn't in keeping with their laws. And I think that's going to get thrown out. And again, it's a process argument, but they've also disenfranchised Republicans that way too, by just drawing them completely out. Let's go to, all right, Rick already took care of Rick's call. I'll tell you what, let me get this break in here. Then we'll come back and load up some more phone calls. So I want to just go, we only got like an hour and 10 minutes to discuss all the crap from this week before we get done. Hueytown Pawn, man, they got those, I talk to you most of the time when I Talk about Tommy's shop over there in Hueytown. We talk about the guns, but dude, they got these Larimore trailers that they just picked up and added to the lineup, and I'm super excited about it. One of my neighbors off in the neighborhood near me has one of these. I eyeball it when I walk by it every day because it's like the perfect size for doing small projects. I got a big double axle thing that's really kind of cumbersome to pull out and deal with, but when I've got to move something heavy, I'll move it with that thing. These are Alabama made, single axle, open trailers. Most of them have the built-in foldable ramp, perfect for lawnmowers and picking up sheets of plywood and hauling your side-by-side or garbage or whatever you want to haul off. There they are at Hueytown Pawn, starting at $14.99, and they've got financing, so they'll set you up and you hook it up and take off. Hueytown Pawn, not to mention one of the best little gun counters in all of Birmingham, with everything that the gun owner would want to need. Great deals on tactical weapons, handguns, pre-owned stuff, hunting stuff, sound suppression, all kinds of accessories. Plus, there's just Tommy and Adam. Go get to know those guys. When you get to know them, now you got somebody that'll give you a little wink and a heads up when we got these deals and these specials coming in when it comes to the gun counter. And grab one of those trailers while you're at it. Hueytown Pawn, Brook Lane Drive, Hueytown Pawn. It was so good to see my friends in Cattle last night. Philip's just a cool guy, the lead singer there in that song. They're playing Jawbone Jam with us this year. Y'all get your tickets on ironcity.com, ironcitybirmingham.com, and of course, Ticketmaster. They're only $40. You can't beat that for Brother Kane and Stone Horses and Cattle all in one night. And our 10th anniversary. Y'all come and hang out with us and celebrate with us. We're going to have a big old time on May the 15th. It's a Friday night, downtown Iron City. All you Jawbone Jam veterans need to be at this one. This is the biggest one yet. And somehow we survived 10 years of corporate radio. Yeah, we did. Man, it's a weird landscape out there right now. And we are just glad to be here. It's the Jawbone Jam on May the 15th. Get your tickets and we'll see you there that night. Let's see if we can get Henry in here. Henry, I got about 3 minutes before the top of the hour. What's going on with you tonight?
Oh, I'm just celebrating this wonderful day of capitalism. As those
Yes.
unhappy commies out there, they're going to be buying lunch and dinner, and a lot of restaurants are going to be making money.
Yep.
And then they're going to have to, they're going to just be spending money. So when they spend money, it makes a capitalist day, and it makes me happy to hear it.
You know what's fun is they hate capitalism, but they're demanding all the money that we've made with capitalism. They want to steal our stuff. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, and the book they go by, the Communist Manifesto, well, it's not free. They had to buy it to read it, to do it. You know, unless somebody just told them what to do. That's possible, too. You know, it's an allegory, I guess. Who is it? Eric Blair, a.k.a. George Orwell? Animal Farm, Leland.
Yeah.
Every child should be made to read it and enjoy it like I did. You know, when you're a kid, that's a heck of a great book to read. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it's a good reread. Even if you read it years ago, it'll shock you how prescient that it was.
Yeah, and when you're rereading it, your child should be there listening.
Yeah, no doubt.
Loud. You know, did you see that picture of the shooter? He was dressed to the hilt. He had grenades and other stuff. Did you see that? That was on the evening news. You think that was a live grenade or a dummy?
I didn't hear anything about grenades. They showed some knives. He had a 38 semi-automatic, and he had the Mossberg pump shotgun. I didn't see any grenades. He might have had some. He might have had mags or other stuff hanging off, or maybe a dummy grenade. But they didn't demonstrate
That's
a grenade. I don't think. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It was a dummy because, you know, he had it. It was hanging on a belt or something near his chest. He had a sling, and it was. I thought I only saw one, but there could have been more. But I don't know. I was really curious about the way he was, you know, just armored up. He was.
Well, the good news, Henry, is now he is adorned with some soap on a rope as he is getting to know his new friends inside, which he'll be there for a long time.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And hey, he should become an Islamist, and he could holler Allah Akbar as he bends over for the soap.
Yikes! 5 times a day too. Yeah, how about that? Okay, buddy, we gotta go. Thanks, Henry. Top of the hour.